Hello again, and thank you for being here. For any of you who might not know me, my name is John-micah Braswell, and this is my music room. Thank you so much for joining me once again for A Dash of Music. We have a really exciting installment today, but before I get into that, I just want to really quickly sort of hype up a little bit what we've got coming up. I am currently actually planned all the way through this next week, all the way through this upcoming Wednesday, which is far more in advance than I ever get the opportunity to plan. And so tomorrow night we will have our jazz night as we usually do. We're going to have a little bit of a party theme. We're throwing in a little bit of rock and roll just to mix things up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Saturday, I am going to be improvising in the manner of film scores. We're going to be going through and exploring some of that. That'll be a lot of fun. On Sunday, we have our weekly virtual hymn sing, and our theme this week is Hymns of Glory, just really celebrating the wonder of what there is to glory in and to celebrate. And then on Monday, we're going to be doing a little, the second collaboration that I have planned, that I've been announcing for a while now with Chris Hutton. We've got everything from Broadway to Billy Joel and even one of his original compositions. It's going to be really exciting, so don't miss that. And then on Tuesday, for Classical Day, we're going to be exploring the music of Claude Debussy, the most famous of the Impressionistic composers, and I will be doing his two most famous piano compositions, his Arabesque No. 1 and his Clair de Lune. It'll be a very peaceful, very lovely night of classical music on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we're going to be exploring the blues. The blues, as many of you know, is a very specific form of music, and it is associated with jazz, but it is something much more specific and much more unique. And so we're going to be playing around with various different feels of the blues over the course of Wednesday. So lots of great music coming up. Make sure you don't miss it. But for today, we have something especially interesting in the form of a theme and variations. So the idea of taking a theme from your listeners, from your audience, and then improvising on it and creating variations on it goes back centuries and centuries. Bach very famously would take a theme that people gave him and write an entire fugue on it just on the spot. He'd improvise it on the spot. Now, I am no Bach, so I am neither creating a fugue nor am I 100% improvising here today. I have done a little bit of it in advance planning to help me out. But nonetheless, the theme you guys gave me was very interesting. I got D flat and A flat, which fit together perfectly, and then C, which fit right in between. It was great. I had G come in with a little bit of a curveball, but it was fine because we were just dealing with the leading tone that went up to A flat. And then my fifth note was an A natural, which I'm pretty sure if the other 8 notes that could have been picked was about as difficult as it gets. But nonetheless, after a little bit of finagling, it requires a very interesting major lift in the middle of the theme, but it does give it a really nice color, and it gives me a lot of opportunities to play around with sort of strange ideas, unique ideas, that for a super tonal or super normal theme, I wouldn't get the opportunity to play with. So I'll step you through how I'm going to be varying this theme today, and you can sort of listen for some of these as we go through. So at the very beginning, as with any theme and variations, I'm going to play just the theme by itself. One moment, I'll pull up my notes. So I'll just play the theme by itself, and it'll be pretty simple, sort of a Sicilian, nice and lilting. Not much accompaniment underneath it though, just the theme and chording. And I've added a little middle section that sets off the few iterations of the theme so that it has some contrast. Then I'm going to be doing a variation built off of one of the most simple types of lyrical arpeggiation that exist. We've all heard it in pop crossover ballads or in film score themes. And I'll be using that figure to help create a variation. Then we're going to spruce things up a little bit with a set of chromatic neighboring tones, which is a fancy theory term, which basically just means adding a little bit of extra color as you're moving between notes. So normally if I wanted to alter a note a little bit, I'd do something like this. But if I make it chromatic, then I do something like this. And it just gives it a little bit of a twinkle in the eye, a little bit of cheekiness. It'll be a lot of fun. for us to have a more sprightly variation. Then I'm going to improvise one in the style of Chopin. Those of you who have been listening faithfully for a while know I love Chopin, love playing his music as well as improvising in his style, so I had to include one that was roughly in his style, even though the chording is not exactly something Chopin would have written. Then we're actually going to move into the style of another of the wonderful composers who I just mentioned. I'll be playing his actual music upcoming, Debussy, by making it very sparse and having the melody in octaves and then a moving modal melody in the middle. We'll have a very mysterious, very difficult to sort of put your finger on variation that'll really provide some contrast there. Then we're going to get a little bit more sprightly. We're going to explore the various registers of the piano by jumping all over it. That one will be just for fun, to sort of cheer us back up. Then we're going to jump into minor. Most variation sets have one where you go from major to minor or minor to major, and it's time to do that. So we are going to explore minor, both through just standard arpeggiation, through a little bit of Gregorian chant-inspired harmony, actually, and then finally through some Rachmaninoff-inspired chording that will ultimately lead us into our final section where I will sort of just be free-form improvising to bring us to a close. So that is what we have to look forward to. I'm not quite sure what this is going to sound like, but this will be a fun adventure we can go on together. Here are a theme and variations on a theme by you. And that is a theme and variations on the 5 random notes you gave me. I hope that you enjoyed that. Make sure that you come back for all the wonderful music we've got coming up, especially tomorrow we have our virtual jazz bar. It's always a big hit. You won't want to miss it. So until then, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.